Okay, so last week, Anthropic released Co-Work, and this was quite a big deal at the time for a variety of different reasons. And you can kind of think of this as being like a mainstream version of Claude Code. Now, at the time, a lot of people kind of freaked out about this, especially startups who were developing products around the same sort of area. One of the startups that was affected, Eigent AI, they didn't freak out at all. They actually took some really radical choices. And that's what this video is all about. And having known that team for the last couple of years, they reached out to me late last week about sponsoring a video to talk about just what they did and a bit about their goals in why that they did it. And I thought it was a great idea. They're not trying to sell anything to developers or anything like that. It's more just a really interesting startup story and a pivot in a product around what they've actually been building for the past year or so. So this is the tweet that kicked it all off. So this is from Guahao, and he's the founder of Camel AI. And if the name Camel AI sounds familiar, it actually is, because it's almost 3 years ago that I actually covered their first model. They were one of the first people to get into actually training up some models for doing different kinds of action taking way back in the early days of the Llama 1 model. So back then they were doing it as an academic kind of thing, but they eventually sort of pivoted and actually started up a startup. And the whole goal with them from the start was around building sort of agents and making frameworks to build agents. Camel AI has never really taken off like an agent framework like LangChain or like ADK, etc. Their goal was to build a system that would allow them to test different ideas for multi-agent architectures. And out of that came this product called Eigent AI. And this is basically a piece of software that runs multi-agent systems. Now, going back to last Tuesday, after Anthropic announced Cowork, Guohao realized that they weren't going to be able to market something that would take on a big company like Anthropic. So he made the very radical decision to just decide, you know what, we're going to kill this product and we're actually just going to open source the whole thing. And you can see from this tweet here, it really started to get some traction. Now, at the time, I just thought it was cool and I clicked like. But that tweet has gone on to have 1.7 million views and a lot of interest from a whole bunch of different places. So very quickly, Guahao realized that, okay, if he was going to open source it, they need to give it a new name. So he basically straight away bought the domain openwork.ai and proceeded to open source the whole thing that they've been building for quite a long time. So some quite funny tweets here. Actually, sure enough, did open source it. Not only that, gave it an Apache 2 license. And you can see here that quite a number of people on Twitter or X also found that was quite amusing about how the way he approached it. And part of the reason for them doing this is that they realized that what they've actually been building has been a lesson in how to build multi-agent architectures and how to customize those multi-agent architectures so that you can build agentic systems that are hyper-specialized and hyper useful at being able to learn from data. So in this video, I want to go through the actual architecture about what it is that they've built. You can actually download the whole thing for free and use it yourself and use it with your own keys, etc. But I think it's really interesting to look at what they actually built from a technical perspective if you're looking for lessons to build your own multi-agent systems. And it's also really interesting to see some of the reactions that they got from people out of this. So you can see here they had people from XAI reaching out to talk about what they had done. And this team has done a bunch of good research over the years. So I think quite a number of people in the community have been following what they're doing, and especially how they've been looking at the whole sort of area of incorporating models with harnesses to make multi-agent systems. Okay, so before there was Eigent AI, the product, they actually started out making an agent framework, and this is Camel AI. So while this is not a framework, I think that they're definitely trying to push to a lot of people. It's got some really interesting things that I want to point out here. This was really built for people to do research about agents and test out different ideas in here. So it's got a whole bunch of different features, but really it's fundamentally quite different than something like LangChain AI or Llama Index, etc. What they're interested in is building things where you could scale things up to have up to 1 million agents going at the same time to be able to see, do you get emergent behaviors? What are the scaling laws around agents? And in the process of doing that, they've incorporated a bunch of different patterns that have come from various research papers, etc., along the way. So they're very interested in things like chain of thought data generation, different forms of instruction generation, and then also how do you empower these agents to actually complete tasks? So things related to role playing, things related to coordination and collaboration of agents. And this is where the Eigent AI ideas originally came from. So looking at this, what now is the open source Cowork desktop. So the whole idea here is that this is built in 3 tiers. The first tier is the front end, right? This is an Electron desktop app. And this is obviously what takes care of the UI and stuff like that. The second element is your agent backend. So this is a quite simple, fast API backend in there. And that's got a bunch of things in it that will basically orchestrate the execution, maintain state for agents, do a bunch of different things like that. And then the third tier is the actual workforce, which are the actual agents that are built on the Camel AI multi-agent core. So the other thing that I find interesting about this product is that while it's built to work with models from Frontier Labs, and they've actually done a bunch of interesting things where they've done collaborations with the Gemini team for the Gemini 3 models. They've also had collaborations with a number of the open weights companies that are working on models like Minimax, like ZAI, and I think they've even been working on some things with the Moonshot team who made Kimi K2. But talking to Guohao about this, his long-term goal is that this should all be able to be done with local agents. And the way that he's architected all of this at the start is that, yes, while at the moment you're using perhaps proprietary models from some of the big companies out there, or you're using some of the really big open models, eventually this is going to be something that's going to run locally on your computer using a local model. And I must say, with Qwen 4 and Gemma 4 and a number of other big open model projects that are just around the corner from coming out, this is an idea that I also subscribe to a lot, and the reason why I was interested in doing the video. So the team actually put out a blog post late last year looking at enterprise agents with Gemini 3 Pro and actually doing all this. And this is the reason why I said that they're not trying to actually sell you anything. Their goal is actually hiring really good agent builders because they're starting to roll out industry specific versions of these kind of multi-agent systems for corporate and enterprise customers. So in this blog post, they actually talk about the whole sort of breakdown of how they've got the React Electron app. So this is a very nice, simple way to make a front-end app that can work on Mac, can work on Windows if you haven't seen that before. And then they've got their backend using Fast API, using some standard stuff there. What is interesting is how the multi-agent system actually works. So if we dive into their architecture, we can see a number of clear patterns going on here. So the first one is task decomposition, right? This has become a standard pattern in sort of the top agents for a while now. So whether you're looking at something like Manus, whether you're looking at open systems that replicate these things, they tend to have a decomposition of a task and breaking it down and then sort of hooking it up to some kind of coordinator agent. And a lot of these ideas go back to papers like Magentic 1 from Microsoft. And even before that, people were looking at this idea of a coordination agent running a bunch of other small agents. And we can see here that it's going to have a bunch of subtasks, which it will then put on a dependency graph. And then as each of these is ready and gets processed, they have their task channel, which I guess you can think of as being all of this, putting it together like a queue system that sort of runs these and actually assigns each of these subtasks to a capable worker or to a capable agent. Now, the system will then fire off a lot of these agents, often in parallel, so that you're not sitting there sequentially for one thing to finish. And this is one of the key features of the graph system that they're using. They're actually using a directed acyclic graph, or a DAG, to set up these various tasks, but then to be able to run nodes in parallel. And then the results of those sort of mini agents or nodes get stored as dependencies then for other tasks that are going to be run going forward. Now, they have 4 pre-built specialized agents. They have a developer agent, which has capabilities around code execution and technical sort of implementation. They have a browser agent, which is all for information retrieval from perhaps a RAG system. web search, those kinds of things. They have a document processing agent. So this is for writing and editing different things. And then the fourth one is a multimodal agent, which is set up obviously to handle things like images, audio, and modalities that are perhaps not going to fit well into the other agents. This whole system obviously is also then set up to actually work with lots of tools like MCPs and with a browser automation architecture in there. So this is something that they've built themselves that leverages on Playwright APIs. And you can see because they've customized it to their specific needs, it's actually kind of a set of tools rather than just a browser. They've got a whole bunch of tools around navigation, around information retrieval, around interacting with the browser, and around how to actually get the best out of this to complete lots of tasks, etc. So if we look at this in action, we can actually see that, okay, this is running the different parts as it goes through. You can actually monitor what it's doing, how it's doing the decomposition, how it's actually breaking things down, and then how it actually uses that browser automation to be able to do a variety of different tasks here. You can see here it's running with Gemini 3 to do a variety of different sort of enterprise tasks, in this case using the Salesforce platform. So one of the cool things about this is that because you've got the developer agent there, it can do a lot more than just do coding tasks. It can actually access your file system and then be able to edit stuff. So a good example of how it all comes together here is actually using the developer agent. So this is a simple prompt that's just helped me organize my desktop. And because the developer agent has access to the file system, it can actually go to your desktop. It can see through ls commands, etc., what's actually on the desktop, make folders, and then categorize the different files into each of the folders. And you can see even there, it processed an image to work out, okay, what folder that should actually go in. So this is one of the cool things about this. Once you've got these 4 agents, and remember the 4 agents are your developer agent, your browser agent, your documents agent, and your multimodal agent. So if you are serious about building actual sort of multi-agent systems, definitely come over and check this out. Like I said earlier on, this is fully Apache 2 license. You can use any of it. If you want to just go in there and look at their prompts, if you want to come in and actually see how they set up the Electron app to actually work with the backend, etc. All of this is now open source, and you can see that already people are forking it like crazy to actually look at building their own systems or their own products around this kind of thing. And if you look in here, they're still doing active development on it. They're still actually contributing to the repo, and I think they're also open to other people contributing to this repo with the goal of people using the Eigent AI product to actually go on and build whole sort of customized systems around this. So if you're looking where to get started with actually learning how it all works together and stuff like that, a great resource is their documentation here. You can see this basically outlines all the different parts, the different capabilities and stuff like that. And then you can actually go into the source code to find out the bits that you're interested in and how it's actually all put together. So like I mentioned at the start, there's nothing really here for you to buy per se, unless you're perhaps a really big organization that is looking at using one of their enterprise systems of something like this. A lot of the goal that both Guohao and the team here is to sort of pay it forward and to try and advance the use of agents much more going forward. So if you come into the GitHub repo, be sure to leave a star for the repo. And as always, I'll leave some links in the description to some articles that I talked about in here, and a link to Guohao's Twitter so that you can follow him, where he's been talking about this and a lot of agent research for quite a while now. Anyway, so let me know in the comments what you think about this, what you think about the whole idea of a lot of startups having to pivot based on these model companies releasing these very sort of broad applications. In this case, it's certainly been a win, I think, both for the open source community, but also with the attention that Camel AI is getting, I think it's actually a win for them as well. So let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think about this. As always, if you found the video useful, please click like and subscribe, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye for now.